Well, it's another late night, and we're still tearing this thing apart. Well, it's about 11:30 at night, and she's at home right now, and I'm tearing this thing apart while it's cool. It's been really hot. So let me show you what I found, because I don't think I've ever owned a car with this much mouse crap in it. So let me show you what I'm doing, and I'll lay out what we're going to do on this video. I had said that we were going to do the get the lights to wig-wag on the back, so that's the plan of this video. Now, I've had to take everything out of the trunk and the back seat in order to expose all the wiring, because I need to color coordinate in a diagram, and that's why I bought that manual last time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I've done tonight, show you what the game plan is, and then I might start it tonight, but I'll finish attacking it in the morning. Firstly, I've taken everything out of the trunk all the way up to the back here. That's all sitting there. Got the back seat out. I did find some neat stuff. I found a bullet under there, which is kind of funny. And then let me grab the light here. And I've taken everything out of here, well, except for this back. And that's pretty easy to maneuver around. I just needed to trace all these wires that are behind here. Let me show you those. There's a whole harness here, and I'll show you those in the back. This is all the power to run all the light bars and whatnot, so I needed to make sure that this was all good to go. So yeah, that's just a bunch of power lines and all that. They're constant to, I'm not sure what they ran. It says it's a constant power line for the trunk lights, but it's not for the wig-wag. According to what I've read in the Upfitter's Guide, is I have to splice into these somewhere. Now, I know they were spliced in somewhere before, so I need to figure out where they were spliced into so I can do it properly. That way I'm not butchering new wires. But if worse comes to worse, I can splice into them individually and do them from there. As you saw in the last video, I had to put, when I built the wig-wag box, in order to get the lights work, I had to have a secondary light set up as a resistor kind of thing, or what did they call it? Anyhow, I had to have an extra power draw to make it click. So what I'm going to do is hook them up to these here. So instead of having the two lights on the inside that blink, we're going to hook them right straight to the reverse lights. That way they'll be the power draw. So the headlights will wig-wag, but these will also blink too. As you see, they're pretty easy to get to. You just have to trace them back down through here and into the wiring harness. Now, here's the cool thing, is I know what color the wire is, so I can actually trace it all the way up to the firewall if I want, and do it that way. That way I can do it all inside the cab. So I've gone ahead and unplugged everything in the trunk and traced it all back to this. Now, according to the schematics, the black wire with the pink stripe is for the reverse lights. So we should be able to hook up through there, and I'm going to run a jumper wire from inside and just run it out to this, and once I hook the power up, the front light should wig-wag and the back should alternate. And if that works, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to make it more permanent. We'll just splice into this permanently right here, and then that's how we're going to make these wig-wag in the back. Okay, so apparently that works, but you have to have it plugged in because it's grounded. So, believe it or not, we got the backs blinking, so that's a success. Okay, so I proved that in concept, so now we actually have to prove it in application. But tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and get the console mounted permanently. I think I'm going to have to pull the front seats out also. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Get the console mounted permanently. I've got all the bolts and everything. And we'll get the wig-wag box set up and everything set in permanently, hopefully tomorrow. But you've seen it work. So we'll do that, and then we'll work on doing the actual taillights. So we'll catch you in the morning. Okay, so it's the next day, and I went and got all the seats out of it earlier this morning, and you didn't need to see that. You've seen seats come out of cars before. You've seen the seats come out of this car a couple of times. So I went to the hardware store the other day, got all the fittings, found a check key for my drill, and an easy out set. So I'm going to have to drill a couple of holes in those bolts on the floor to extract those. I tried to see if I could get them out the bottom. They're jammed, so they're going to have to be drilled out. So let's get these holes drilled and extract these broken bolts, and then we can head on to the next thing, and that's getting the console in permanently. Okay, I'm sitting here in the car, got my power drill, got the WD-40, so let me show you what's going to happen. Normally I would take the carpet out, but I'm just really lazy, and the carpet stinks, so I really don't care if it smells like WD-40. We got the WD-40 for a reason, because you have to keep the drill bit cool, and you don't want to go just full ape on it. Just drill a nice hole right in the center. It's going to take a little bit to get it started. Spray a little bit of penetrating oil in it to keep the bit cool, and you'll move through it really easy. Get a nice hole, and then I'll show you what to do with the easy out. Okay, now that we have a good hole drilled, you want to drill, this is an easy out, you want to drill deep enough to where the easy out will bite. And we apparently aren't quite there yet, so I'll drill it just a little deeper, but once it bites, put the ratchet on, and then just screw it out. But you want to do it with the smallest easy out and the smallest thing, and make sure you're centered, because you don't want to get into the threads. If you get into the threads, it's going to create other problems. You want the threads to come out, you know, without any trouble. So we'll drill a little deeper and get to that. And this right here is why you don't use cheap easy outs. I got half a turn on it and she broke. So there's the other end of it. So apparently, if it's that soft, that should cut right through it. So we'll get this out. The other hole, it was a disaster too. So we're just going to have to nut and bolt it and hope for the best. So let's get to that. Okay, so we got it out. Unfortunately, it came out with the mount. So now I'm going to have to get a longer screw and 2 washers, and do it that way. Make sure it's sealed. But buy good tools. You should always buy good tools. So we'll let this be a lesson. Don't buy cheap easy outs. All right. So now that we got that out, I'm gonna have to clean up and go get the console ready, and we're gonna vacuum. And I got to go to run to the hardware store and get some bolts. So we'll be back here in a bit, and we'll have the console in. Well, we made it to the local True Value, so let's go in there, find our bolts, and then I'll be back out with them. Now that we got our stuff, back to the house. Okay, so we're in the trunk. I've got the 2 tail lights hooked up in the back. I'm getting ready to hook the yellow wire up to the those lights up there like we saw last night. So we're going to hook that in, and as soon as this is done, I'll tidy these up and take all the extra slack out of them, because I'm going to need the slack up front. But once we get the slack out of them, then we'll hook the wig-wag up front and get everything going, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, now we have the console, we have it kind of ready to go. We're not going to bolt it down because we have to put the seats in, but basically these arms slide in and they go into the seat holes right here. So once that happens, we tighten these down and everything's going to sit really snug. So we'll lay this right here for now, but then we're going to run some wires to the back first because I want to put them under the carpet. And then once we get that done, we're going to put the seats in, bolt everything back down, and then show you where we're going from next. Once we get that set up, we can hook the lights up in the back, get everything here situated where it needs to be, plug the wig-wag box in, see if everything works, and if it all works, the interior is going back together. Part of what took so long to get the console in was these screw holes here. So we got these here, you know, stock bolt here. Console's a floater, and now we can mount the, since this is permanent now, we can mount the wig-wag box. I've put it inside a 3x5, put rubber around both ends, and this is what happens when you don't have the right saw to cut the hole. But put a little silicone around here, and if we open the top, everything's just mounted in real nice, so the wire should be able to come in here, everything will connect. This setup's pretty cool. It's got these grooves, get the right bolt. Bolt just fits right in. You slide it anywhere you want. We already pre-drilled a hole in the bottom. And there you go. And we will put a screw, a washer, and a nut on it and zip it down, and it'll be secure right there. And just like that, it's in. Now, I have a mount for this, but I left it in the semi-truck, and the semi-truck's not at the house at the moment, so. But this is secure. Everything works. So, as you saw before, lights are on. Hit the switch. Boom, she goes. You can hear it clicking. That's about it for this project for now. We did what we set out to do. I've got to tidy up a couple of wires here and, you know, just trim off a couple of loose ends. And that's no big deal. To finish this thing out will take me about, it'll take longer to drive to where my truck is than it will to finish this up. But that being said, you know, I wanted to take you on this little journey of putting everything together. And I know there was some spots here that were a little repetitious, but that's what happens. It seems like you get something put together and then you have to take it apart. You get something put together, you have to take it apart. You know, I've had this car apart 3 times just to do this. But hopefully throughout this whole little journey, I showed you how to make some wiring harnesses and things hook up, and the importance of using switch panels that are fused and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun. This car will come back here eventually, but as for now, I've kind of come to the end. We're gonna probably do some paint work on it here soon, and, you know, cover up the rust and all that. I don't know how much of an episode we can make out of that, but we'll try. So hopefully this hasn't been too dull. We'll end up doing some other stuff eventually, but we're going to get back onto the other projects. You know, I've got to get that Torino going. We're going to get the 78 F250 prep 250. We're going to get that prep to sell here soon. And there's just a bunch of other stuff that needs to happen with the Oldsmobile and all that. And hopefully we'll have an actually dedicated project for the channel. That'd be really cool. But, you know, time is kind of one of those things that I just don't have as much of as I would like. So the Crown Vic's done for a while. Hopefully this wasn't, like I said, it wasn't too much of a repetitious video. I hope you learned something, and if you got any questions, please ask. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Guess where we're going?